and everyone lives by and adheres to their MVL. In Gillage, the most simple, overarching emphasis is on the MVL. Everything else that is important has been designed into the Gillage by systems of living. These systems, like karaoke, pause retreats and the like, mean that people don't need to think hard about and go out of their way to maintain balance. The systems do the hard work for them. But the good people of Gillage must individually take responsibility for their MVL, their minimum viable lifestyle. Every day people ask themselves, what do I really need? And when they have applied the 5 whys to those needs, they focus on acquiring those needs. And once they have those needs, they are encouraged to relax a little. Everything after this point is a bonus. Everything hereafter is not as powerful a return if the MVL is already in place. Because of the MVL, the minimum viable lifestyle, people don't fall into the trap of envying their neighbor that was so problematic in the time of the 10 Commandments. They learn to judge themselves not by the trivial achievements of their neighbor, but by their own bare essential low standards. They still shoot for the stars, but they don't care much if they miss. Once you have your MVL, you can get back to playing. And You'll Never Walk Alone is the anthem. In Gillage, I'll become the old-timer sitting in the pub or the park bench lecturing the youth. I'll be the old-timer who talks about his beloved football team, the great Liverpool FC, and their anthem, You'll Never Walk Alone, the song they sing at the start of every home match. In the words of the larger-than-life, title-winning Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, where did you ever hear a better message than You'll Never Walk Alone? It's the most beautiful song in the world. Everybody feels it, everybody loves it, and everybody gets the message. In your darkest moments, you are not alone. I love that. In Gillage, the anthem will always be, You'll Never Walk Alone. Like a giant football community, this will always be true. Every time you see someone wearing the jersey of Gillage, you'll connect with them immediately, and without saying it, you'll both be reminded that you are there for each other, that you are never alone. Like any football or sporting team fan base, everyone who wears the same colour is on the same side. No one fights amongst themselves, and no one stands on the hill alone. Except in Gillage, there is no opponent. Just one big team. No, the opponent is indifference, isolation, and ignorance. That is the common foe we unite against. And young boys don't grow up feeling lonely. There was a young boy I once knew who spent a lot of time when he was growing up feeling lonely. He so often struggled, and he so often struggled to make sense of why he struggled. He was talented, high-achieving, popular, and widely liked. He had a loving family and a warm home. Why did he feel lonely so often? Why did he feel out of place? I must be the problem, he thought. He did not understand his world back then. He could not see that the world around him had been designed, rather accidentally, to make it very easy for him to feel so painfully lonely. In Gillage, the world is designed to bring people together in an age where we are all drifting apart. I still hear his voice from time to time, not as often as before, but there still, in the deepest and darkest of corners, often on solitary Friday nights or Sunday evenings. In that voice I hear from time to time, the lonely young boy asks me to build a place like Gillage where he can feel free again. Because what is the point of technological breakthroughs, advanced economic systems and wealth if loneliness is so rife? And Gillage is not perfect, but it follows the 85% rule. Athletes will run faster when they're trying to get to 85% capacity than they will when they try to go 100% of their intensity. When pushing too hard, we lose the grace and honesty of our truest and best performance. There is no utopia, and perfection is asymptotic. It is the horizon, something that always appears visible, but that we can never reach. Once we are 85% of the way there, that is good enough. And that is what Gillage will be. The first utopia that doesn't try to be utopian. After all, without a bit of roughness, controversy, and adversity, our young will grow up without the tools needed to truly make themselves their own in the world. And people don't just write things, they do them. And in Gillage, people don't just write about things like Gillage without actually making them happen. True to my word, this dream of Gillage has started with me and a few others. You'd be forgiven for thinking this was just the naive dreaming of an unproven young man. But I can assure you, though, It has started with just 3 dreamers. It will spread. This Gillage will become, in some form, a reality. We are building it piece by piece in our everyday lives, and we are building it with the projects we are doing. And if you want to build Gillage alongside us, there's a lot we will need. And you can sign up any which way you choose. But first, I hope you give yourself permission. Permission to think and believe that something like this is not just a pie-in-the-sky idea, but something that is actually possible, that will make all the difference. I don't know when, but I believe this will happen. And I believe that we will open 1,000 doors together. So that's Gillage, inspired by a couple of people in particular, who are very close and dear to me, and experiences I've had so far. It's the best world I'm capable of imagining right now. And you may have a ton of questions and concerns. Favorite one I've gotten so far is this a cult? To which my answer is normally, what's a cult? Though you may have a lot of questions or curiosities, I will say that if you're interested in not specifically that, but your own vision or your own version of Gillage, which I think is much more important than trying to make you accept my version of Gillage, is how to make it a reality. And what I do believe, as always, is that it comes through the 1,000 doors. And that the best way to open 1,000 doors for you is to concentrate on opening doors for others. Thank you. This has been the With Joe Wehbe Podcast.